The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast. I'm Mandra.
I'm Debbie.
And I'm Shelly. It is our mission here to inspire, to empower, and to help people be well. We have a great show for you guys today. We are going to be discussing when we write, where we write, and how we write. We're going to let you in on what our writing spaces look like, what our processes are, and hopefully get everyone connected on this journey of writing.
I think that sounds like a wonderful show. I would tune in.
I love it. Where are we going to start?
I think since Shelly has the nicest space, we should start with her.
Yep, let's start with Shell.
Oh, she did mention her lake house last week, so we get to see it.
Well, we traded in the ocean house for the lake house, but as you can see, the view is amazing. I love that we popped our Inspire sign right next to the deck for the 4 chairs. There were 5, and we lost a few along the way, and I should probably take one chair out. Right. Yeah, kind of like our group, right? Exactly.
Do you ever pour a little brown liquor out for your chair homies that you've lost?
Well, brown liquor meaning coffee?
No, meaning like scotch or Hennessy.
No, but we could.
We
really should. Oh, like they do on Survivor where they put out their flame? No, well, okay, whatever. Yeah. So, Shelly, tell us about your writing space.
Well, that writing space is fabulous because whether it's outside, obviously not now, but inside, you've got the view of the lake, which is absolutely amazing. I love to light the candle, and I think you like to do that too, Deb.
I do.
And I have a piece of pottery there that's my inspiration from my grandfather. He was a potter. And I have my mock-up of my book, just inspiring me right at that table. But I know that we talked about before, just the space could be ideal, but sometimes I'm on an airplane doing some travel, and I have my notebooks with me. Sometimes I'm at work. Sometimes I'm in the car voice texting to my virtual Post-it. And so it's not always perfect. And Mandra, I thought you've said that before too. Your world isn't always perfect in the space that you write at. Right. So I'm a working mom, and basically when I write is at night after my son's been put to bed, and I kind of sit crisscross applesauce on the couch with my laptop in front of me and try to get a few paragraphs out. I'd love to have a sort of dedicated space. That's probably the 2018 goal, is to make that happen. But I write kind of wherever I can, whenever I can, just to try to get those ideas flowing. I do, though, no matter where I am, usually have some sparkling water in a wine glass. And a snack. Set the stage. Yeah, I kind of need to be eating while I'm doing it, so you can imagine what my keyboard looks like. But I used to put real wine in there, and I found that I needed to go to bed before I got too much written, so I did switch over to the sparkling water. But sort of have that, my snack, my couch, and those, I think, are what we're talking about, are our cues that kind of get you in the writing mode. Because as you've mentioned before, we don't drive to an office, a writing office. So we have to sort of create what our ritual is for letting your body know, your mind know, okay, now it's time to be creative. I've lit my candle. Deb, why don't you tell us about what your process is for that?
Well, I think for most people who have technically a quote-unquote real job, they have that geographical transition where they walk in the door and now they know they're at work and they have a boss, and their boss doesn't let them get up and do their own laundry or get up and clean the toilet. But I have found that sometimes that if I'm not, I have to have a ritual, kind of a habit of how I set it up, because if I don't, then I let myself get distracted. Suddenly cleaning the toilet is easier and more enjoyable than sometimes sitting staring at that blank screen. So I just have kind of a ritual that I do. It's not very complicated, but I make a cup of coffee and I put on only, there are 2 TV channels on the TV, CMT, country music channel. That's if my brain is kind of busy. and I know I'm going to have trouble transitioning into the writing, I need the words. If I'm already feeling pretty mellow and ready to kind of submerge myself right into the writing, I go to the soundscapes, which is kind of yoga type music. And then I go over to my desk. I light my candle, which I have a 72-inch big blue chalk painted desk. So, and I do sit there for other things, but if I'm writing, I have a candle. It doesn't matter. I always have one candle, nothing special, but I light the candle, and that to me tells me, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. I'm here to write.
That's your punching the clock,
Yes.
lighting the candle.
Yes.
Does the candle have a certain aroma to it? Is there an aromatherapy process going on?
Ironically, the one I'm using right now is lilacs, which I happened to walk through a store and reminded me of my grandmother. And my grandmother's name is Dorothy, and I do use the name Dorothy in my fiction novel right now. But generally, it does not have to have a certain scent. I buy too many candles because I never want to run out.
Never want to run out. Now, I have a question, too, are you always writing, are you always typing on your computer, or are you using a pencil? Because I have to skip all over the place. Sometimes it's a pencil, sometimes it's a pen, sometimes it's the computer. Do you guys do that?
I think I had started keeping journals, and those were pen and paper, actual writing. Now where I'm mostly on the computer. So kind of putting all that into the computer and then making edits from there. But to get started, it was just pen and paper. Deb's like Post-it note queen.
She is.
Here.
I
love Post-its.
She keeps Post-its in business.
Yes. She opens up her journal and there's 10 Post-its there for us. At least.
I came with my own little Post-it pad.
And they all have inspirational sayings.
That I had made.
Yes.
Yeah, I had this made up.
They're custom Post-its.
Wait, what do these say? Oh, you're perfect.
No, perfect, because she has a little pear body.
Oh, good God.
Yes, so
Okay, that was some art therapy right there.
Yeah.
But actually, you paid someone.
Vistaprint.
They didn't pay you for your art therapy?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Okay, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. For me, I can't write with pen and pencil, generally because I can't write as fast as I can type. And so if the thoughts are flowing, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
But stickies, I have stickies everywhere. I actually have the idea to do a couple little videos of how a writer sleeps, how a writer drives, how a writer packs her vacation. So that's something that hopefully will be coming.
Yeah, I just imagine that, and I'm thinking there's a notebook next to the bed, and there's a notebook in the car, and
Yes.
yeah, it happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Because you never know when those thoughts or the right word or the right phrase is going to pop in your head.
And I don't know if everybody else finds this, but ideas are like clouds. They come and go. And either I grab it and I write it down, or it goes. I can be in the shower and have an idea and think, oh, that's the perfect word that I've been looking for. And if I don't write it down, that's why I even have stickies in the bathroom.
Did you just write the cloud thing down? Because that was good.
What do you want me to write?
What you just said about the clouds.
Ideas are like clouds.
Ideas are like clouds. They come and go. I like it.
But I have to say, too, there's something about the shower.
There is.
There really is.
It's a magical place.
It's like a water feature going.
It's warm.
Yes. And you can I have some of my best thoughts in the shower.
I think
And
part
then
of it
you get out, you get dressed, and they're gone.
Yes. So you have to write them down. Even just one word can be enough to trigger the thought later, 4 hours when you can come back to it.
Well, or it's cold when you're trying to preserve this hair color. So my shower isn't exactly always warm because you've got to do cold to preserve this purple.
I would have no thoughts if it was cold.
I'm sorry.
It would just be get out.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I could really? You gave up hot showers? I don't think there's anything I would give up hot showers
Well,
for.
unless I can keep my head out of the shower.
So in case you can't see, Shelly's hair is,
Yes,
how
this
would you
week.
describe?
It's iridescent purple.
That's very good, Mr. Jonathan. Good job. I think I've inspired our studio audience, so I'm kind of
That
excited
is
to
true.
see some colored hair in our audience
There's
today.
more than one iridescent purple.
Yeah. Last week we had a lot of blondes. This week we don't.
Right. Wow. It's a really
So
inspiration
are you
everywhere.
anti-shower cap?
Oh.
Yeah, that's CD.
Yeah.
Or had you not thought of a shower cap?
Okay,
Just wondering.
so I'm going to say I haven't thought of the shower cap, except now when I hear that, it makes me feel old.
No.
Yes.
You've got to get a shower cap that's as fabulous as you are. And
Yeah.
then you're
Oh, I
fine.
could bedazzle it?
Bedazzle
Yes,
that.
bling that sucker
Let me
out,
write
Shelly.
that down. Shower cap. I like it.
Blinged shower cap.
I love it.
Oh, I think she should bring it for one of the shows.
And wear it the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We could do a pajama day.
I could probably sell those, huh?
You probably
At
could.
the salon?
Absolutely.
Ooh, I just got a marketing idea.
What
I
are the-
love it.
Streams of income. That's what Mandra introduced me to. She's in the very beginning of our writing group. She said, you need to not just think about how you're going to. Not that this is all about the money. Clearly, it's not at all about the money because there is no money. But someday
there might be.
Yeah, there could be some money. And Mandra said, you really need to think about what else are you going to offer. So
So we had several. Yeah, so you could have several streams of income going instead of several streams going out.
Right.
And nothing coming back.
Bedazzled shower caps.
Well, but let's go back to the distractions for a second, because that's an important one, especially for those people that are working from home or moms at home, because there's always a dish to be done or laundry that could be done. So how do you kind of set that aside and work on your writing?
It's such a good question.
So hard.
My daughter once said to me, Mom, you think that you have to do the work and then you get the reward. She said, I don't think like that. I'm ready for the reward right away. So I know when I wake up, if I have a lot of things that I have to do, those weigh on me more, and I put the writing off. And the later in the day that it goes without me writing, the less writing I get done.
And for the record, the crankier she becomes.
So true.
Just would like to point that out.
I start the day cranky.
So you're a first thing in the morning writer.
By first thing, I mean...
We need late morning.
Yeah, late morning. Yes.
You ease into your day.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, and everyone that's listening, you need to know that Debbie is my wife, that if she doesn't get her release early, it starts to build up and build up and build up. And sometimes the build up becomes a frustration because she can't break through to that next level that like she would get if she had that cathartic release early in the day.
See, he says stuff like that, and I say, that's why I'm married to him. He gets me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He does get you.
Yes.
He does.
Oh, I just said something nice. I have to make sure I'm careful about that. I don't want his head to, he has a pretty big head anyway. So that's how. So distractions, I think for me, I prioritize, or I try to prioritize. I try to do the writing first. But what about you?
It's been a little bit of that, of prioritizing, but also a little bit of letting go. Like, there will be the laundry tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So if I'm feeling I'm still awake at 9 o'clock at night, then I'll do the laundry tomorrow, or the dishes will still be there. And sometimes you just have to say, all right, well, we'll fix that in the morning. Because we'll make sure there's toilet paper in the bathroom later.
Or who knows, maybe someone else can change it.
That's probably not going to happen, but it's always going to be there. So the thoughts and the writing, so what if it takes up an hour of your evening? The other thing I've done is I don't watch TV at night anymore. So I gave up whatever my show was, or, whatever series I was watching. I said, well, it's more important that I do this writing, so I'm going to give that up. And I know a lot of people are on social media. Facebook can immediately suck 3 hours of your life.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's where you find the time. You kind of trade it for something else.
And I think, although I might have the most beautiful space, I still have the dishwasher and the washer and dryer and the floors to be mopped and the dogs to take care of. So sometimes we actually have to load up in the truck and go to our cabin in the middle of the woods, which doesn't have a washer or dryer or a dishwasher. For that matter, it doesn't have... All right, it has running water, but you have to pump the red handle fast to get the running water. And so there's nothing... The bathroom is outside.
You probably don't even need toilet paper.
Why have we not been invited to
you
this
still need toilet
Shangri-La?
You're always invited.
I didn't even know you had it.
Once I told Deb that the bathroom you had to walk to outside, and it might have been, just like a shed with a toilet seat, she said, no, thank you.
We said no thank you for the
You
winter. We said the winter is probably not the best time.
Oh, because you didn't want to wait for the 2 hours for the cabin to warm up. It does have a wood stove.
I'm in.
You're in?
I'm in.
Okay.
And I can hover, so I don't have to worry about a cold seat.
I love it.
But you go to a place where there are less distractions.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Sometimes the writing comes and sometimes it does not.
So, what I'm gathering here is if you're going to really make a go at writing, you've got to prioritize it. It's got to be important.
Yes.
And one of the things for myself when I want to prioritize something is I tell myself that I deserve this happiness, whatever that is. So I'm
life pondering's happening.
Seriously,
Deserves this
my
happiness.
husband's amazing, but if you trade him in, I might be
Well,
in line.
that's why he married me, because he deserves this happiness.
Oh, my microphone doesn't seem to be working anymore. This thing on?
Well, another trick that my brother, who's a triathlete, told me, there are days, he's actually a multi-Ironman triathlete, so he is clearly got dedication.
For the record, he is drop-dead gorgeous, ripped, and has the jawline of Clark Kent.
Ooh.
Just so everybody listening
Wow, thanks for the visual.
can understand.
Yes.
Do we have a picture of him we can put up?
I'll get
We'll
you
work
one.
on that.
Okay.
Yes.
She'll take a screenshot of something.
So his advice was, on days that he really doesn't want to go running, when he just feels like, I just don't know if I can do it today, I'll do 15 minutes. And if I do 15 minutes and I don't want to do it anymore, I'll turn around and I'll let myself go home. Mm-hmm. And I do that too sometimes. On the days that it feels the worst, I'll set my clock timer. And suddenly the clock timer at 15 minutes, I think, who cares? It doesn't matter if it's good. And I just start.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when that timer goes off, I'm laughing at the timer. So that's a good trick.
That's true.
The other thing I will say is this group holds us accountable. It gives us a deadline.
Right.
So my writing would just be random. Here's a great idea. Here's a great idea. Here's another great idea for this book. And I would never cohesive it into readable pages. But because we have meetings scheduled every 2 weeks, that is what gets me over the hump.
Yeah, that's our accountability.
Yes.
That's a due date to have pages sent so that we don't waste our time when we do get together. And even if you're not in a writer's group, maybe set some sort of deadline for yourself.
And I think 2 weeks is realistic because you have the amount of time for distractions to happen to really not affect your writing. You could end up missing a couple of days out of that 2 weeks and you're okay. Whereas a 1 week window, 7 days, you lose 3 days out of that and it's over.
That's
And
too
you
much
give up.
pressure. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So I think the writers group has been great for, I know Shelly and I would be nowhere near where we are in our books if we didn't have the group. Absolutely.
Well, and neither would I.
Right.
That and the log cabin doesn't hurt.
But yeah.
True.
And the lake house.
And the iridescent hair. I think it all just big,
It all ties
one
together.
big package.
Just got it all
Shelly
together up there.
Yeah.
She's a dream. She's a dreamer. Who gets things done.
Who gets it done?
Yes.
There's a
Yes.
difference.
Yes.
What else do you do when you have that writer's block? Like that was kind of what you were talking about with setting a timer. So when you have the, literal writer's block, what are some tricks and things that we use to kind of get things flowing again?
What I do is I tend to, even if it isn't specifically writer's block, even if I've just spent a couple of hours and I've kind of finished a piece and I can feel, okay, if I'm going to start another piece, I need to kind of recenter myself, I will walk the dog to the mailbox and just get some fresh air. The other thing I did recently was I went on Craigslist and I bought a mini trampoline.
Of course you did.
I did. So I know. So yesterday when I finished writing, and yesterday was a great writing day, I was playing Pitbull's Fireball. I'm a fireball because it was such a good day. Anyway, after when I was transitioning, I took that mini trampoline, I put it out on the deck, and I did 5 minutes of jumping jacks. I have a video that I did not send to our...
Of course you did. Of course you videoed yourself.
To prove it, just in case you didn't believe me.
So you need like a physical...
I need a physical release and reset.
Yeah.
But if I do something like the laundry,
Yeah.
then I end up doing more laundry, and then I end up doing the dishes, and then I end up doing the dog, and then my brain starts thinking, and I don't end up writing again.
Yeah.
So I have to do something very just exercise without allowing me to go back into the real world. So those are my.
I have to shut the computer, shut the journal, put the pen down, and step away from the desk and curl up with a blanket and a good book. And I need to read somebody else's book because I think my struggle is, putting that. I have the story inside my head.
Yeah.
It's how to get it out in actual correct paragraph form. So I need to read somebody else's book to jumpstart my inspiration again.
Yeah.
So I sometimes get stuck with, I want sort of that first draft to be perfect. So I want it to be already grammatically correct, my paragraphs to make sense. And sometimes that's actually the block, is that
Yes.
I want it to come out like a final draft.
Sure.
So I need to do sort of like stream of consciousness writing where I don't worry about that. I have run-on sentences. I might not capitalize things, and I just write. And I might pick a topic completely different from what I'm currently working on and say, okay, just write, for 5 minutes, stream of consciousness. It doesn't matter. And then I can go back through and pick out good phrases and things from that.
And doesn't that feel uncomfortable?
Very uncomfortable
Right?
for me.
And that's
Yes.
right. It's right if it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Have we ever read your stream of consciousness?
You have.
Oh, we have. Okay, I
You
didn't know if
have.
that was something that
Yeah.
was aside because I wanted to read it.
No, I could bring that in
Okay.
sometime, but I've done that. And, obviously what comes out is a very rough draft, but it's amazing that there's some good stuff in there too. And it kind of just gets you, or gets me away from it needing to be so perfect and just sort of getting those thoughts flowing. So
I heard another writer say you just have to vomit on the page.
Yeah, pretty
because
much.
when you go back, you will find a pea and a carrot in there.
Oh!
Well, that's not my
it'll need some
thing.
cleaning.
Yes, but you'll
Some
find those
finesse.
nuggets. And I find it fascinating that Shelly goes to reading a book when she's stuck because I don't do that on purpose. Because if I pick up a Jodi Picoult book,
You're going to feel
I'm
like
gonna
you're
try
right
to-
like her.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm not going to write like her. I'm going to wish I wrote like her, but I'm going to try to write like her instead of staying in my own voice.
But I think that's what I'm trying to do is find my
Find your
voice, and I
voice.
look at my mantle with all of my favorite writers and my favorite books. And I mean, I go as far back as the sarcasm of Irma Bombeck, and I want that kind of a voice. So I want to make my voice not theirs, but
Right.
Yeah.
that kind of voice.
Using them to help you find your voice.
Yes.
And what I find when I read other people's works is there's a lot of different ways to say something,
Sure.
and it's all right. Like they're all good ways of saying it. So,
It doesn't have to be
doesn't
perfect.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's see. So we covered where
Yeah.
and how and what we do if we're stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do we want to talk a little bit about where we are in our projects?
I'd love to because guess what I have for you
Oh my
girls
gosh.
today?
What?
I have the first, well, we've been through many covers. You've seen many covers, but I have what I
For
think
which
is-
book? What do you?
Well, this is for my fiction novel, Well-Behaved Woman Coming
Okay.
Undone.
Okay.
And I, now this is a picture of my computer screen.
It's horrible, and I would like not to be associated with this piece of work.
And so I apologize.
Media lesson this morning.
As
You
the
cannot
producer.
take a picture of a picture.
Right.
And for the record, she has been told this many times.
Well, that might be true. But anyway, back
Okay,
to the
go
book.
ahead.
So, with the title, Well-Behaved Woman Coming Undone, originally I'd been going with frayed ropes and maybe women tied up and maybe cocoons coming unraveled or spools of thread.
Yep.
But I realized the coming undone isn't really that kind of coming undone. It's not really a fun coming undone. This is
Right.
a very deep emotional coming undone. So a friend of mine suggested I use this picture, which I thought had a lot of mood. So here's what we have.
I showed it already.
Oh,
Sorry.
you did? Okay.
Yes.
But I don't think the girl saw it.
All right. Uno momento.
And so how many drafts did you go through to get this?
This
I mean,
is-
we
oh,
talked
this
about
is-
all
there it
those
is,
different
there it is.
things. right?
25? 25?
Okay. I love it.
You do?
I do love it.
I really
But I
kinda
love,
I like
I love that whole photo shoot, and I love that
Yes.
connection.
Do you like? I did ask him. I wanted him to put a little bit more of the path and to have the figure be just a little bit further away, so you can kind of see her coming towards you.
So, Deb, in your magical words for the people that are actually listening while they're driving to work today, what is that? Actually, they can't see this. So, give me some magical words on what this book cover is for visual.
Well, it's the bottom half of a woman just walking kind of down a stone path that, if you look closely, is in a graveyard. She's holding some roses down in her hand. She's barefoot. And the feeling is a little bit, you're going on a journey in this book.
And she's wearing a gown.
Yeah.
Yes.
You cannot tell what kind of gown it is, but it is definitely fancy and doesn't belong in a graveyard.
That's true.
And it's
Good
just sort of
point.
flowing around her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of ragged edges.
Yeah.
I happen to know that because I literally
It
cut
has a
that
lot of
dress.
emotion.
I hope so. Yes.
Yeah, it
So,
definitely does.
do you like the well-behaved woman is all on one line on one book cover, and on the other one it's split into two. Do you have a preference?
I like the two.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the two as well.
I mean,
And the font is larger.
can you guys see it?
I can.
Kidding. All right, I'm fading. I can't take it anymore.
You can look through the pixels.
Okay. We had two through the pixels. We had 2 votes. So soon I will have a real cover. But see, I didn't want you to see too much. I can pretend that illusion.
Little nuggets.
That's just
breadcrumbs along the way.
There's still some vomit there.
That's exciting.
It. Yes.
Because you've been through a lot of book covers and
I've reached out to professional book cover artists. That's their job and their website, and they don't give their phone number, which I found rather disconcerting. I really wanted to talk to somebody in person, but I sent to 2 of them, and I never heard a word back. It just is shocking to me that people who have their own business don't get back when customers are reaching out to them.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Yes.
But it looks like
I feel like we're kind of on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
Yes, pun intended. So that's my update for this week.
All right.
Love it. Shell.
Well, let's see. So last time I told you I was reaching out to developmental editors. I mean, I was actually tossing around the idea between ghostwriting and developmental editing, and I did get some emails back from a few, and we narrowed it down to developmental editing.
Tell us one more time. Yeah. What?
So developmental editing is more where they're helping me find my voice with it and helping me write those paragraphs.
Like a writing coach.
Like a writing coach, exactly, like a writing coach. So I did a few phone conferences, so I got the voice-to-voice, which is really helpful.
Yes.
Because you get to hear that person that's going to be part of you kind of building this book together. And I have narrowed it down to 2 people, which I think I'm going to use both of them, actually. And I'm going to use one of the women is in California and doesn't have a huge realm of experience in this whole thing. So I think she's going to be able to help me actually pull these stories together. Right. Whereas my North Carolina fabulous developmental coach, and I've told her I'm as scared. So I love it when Deb gets word back from her editor. She tells us, right? Yeah. She tells us she plans the day she's going to open the package. Right. I'm like, what? Why do you not rip that thing open?
Exactly.
Well, I finally realized what she meant when the developmental editor had sent back the email with comments and concerns and some editing done on a piece. I didn't want to open it. I didn't want to open it. So I had to plan a day that I had time to open that email and decide whether I needed like coffee and wine
or tissues
or
machine gun.
Yes, all of that. Or I needed to just like drill a hole in the ice and go drown myself in there. Like, I mean, something.
Right.
And so this time of year, it would be okay for the color of your hair if you went head first.
Correct. Yes, it would be color safe. Color safe.
It'd still be a lovely corpse.
My skin would be blue. My hair would be purple. So it's been exciting back and forth and deciding what we're going to do. But another thing that she said in her email, which sent me to the possible machine gun area, was that she said, have you ever heard of this woman? She gave me this woman's name. She's done a whole series on mysteries in beauty shops. And I was like, what?
It was
yes. What?
She texted.
That's
well,
when
we know.
Yes.
She texted.
What do you mean?
In a panic.
So I Google and screenshot like 12 books this woman's done as a mystery in beauty shops, and I was like, WTF?
Right.
You felt like your idea.
I was freaking out.
Right.
Someone had done it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so as soon as she texted us,
I invented the wheel, and apparently somebody else already did.
Right. But the good thing is she's done your proof of concept.
That's right.
So now you know we need a wheel.
We thought it was
you're
going
to do it better.
That's actually a good thing.
Right.
And thanks for the writers group because, oh my God, you guys like pulled me out of I'm going to jump out of a moving car right now.
Well, and I think that Shelly took it as, oh, well, it's already been done. I shouldn't
do it.
Right. Right. And so if she hadn't had us, I think she would have been really, her momentum.
I might have stopped.
That's like,
I would definitely would have stopped.
Somebody's already written a memoir. Why should I? Because yours is going to be different.
Right.
Better, different, other themes.
Yes.
So it's been a roller coaster.
Sure.
It's been a roller coaster of excitement and death fear.
Well, we're glad we could pull you back from the icy waters.
Yes. I'm glad. I'm very glad.
And what's happened in your world, Mandra? Now, we didn't have a meeting this week, unfortunately, because we had our podcast and then we were traveling.
Right. But what I had done was I was working in some edits from the last time that we met. And it was a section where my husband, his father's visiting him in the hospital during a physical therapy session that Brad needed to have many of. And I think we all kind of struggle with how we portray our family members in these memoirs, right? Because it's a delicate balance. We love some of our family members, but we don't love necessarily everything that they did or have done. And so you guys really helped me sort of present in a fair way, kind of the part that I might have been angry at, but seeing it from Dad's perspective. And we hadn't had a lot of Dad's perspective throughout the book, so that was an important piece to kind of get that in there. And to then go back and think of the other family members / characters that are in the book and how have they been portrayed, because I don't want to really piss anybody off or have anybody, eject me from the family or, whatever. Be disowned. But I also want to be honest, but be fair. So I think that's been an ongoing struggle for all of us when we start writing about actual people that we need to continue to live with.
And this week you traveled a bit with Sarah, and your sister, and she's the only other person, I think, besides us that has read the whole book.
Right.
So any news on that front of what she had to add?
She loved the ending, which I was glad about, because I worked hard on that, and you guys liked the ending.
Yes.
She definitely loved the ending. She didn't. We had been trying to work in some earlier chapters and kind of do this bounce back between time sort of thing, where I'm telling the story, but then it steps back, a few years before. And that, where I put those spots in, she didn't really agree that they went and she didn't think it made sense. For her, chronological made much more sense. But I'm wondering if when you're scrolling through on a computer, it seems like a big jump. But if you're actually ending a chapter, turning a page, starting a new chapter, then that switch in time, would be easier for a reader to digest.
Right.
So I think I just need to give it to her in a different format.
The whole thing at once.
Yeah.
Well, shall we take a stroll around the neighborhood and see where everyone's at? So let's see. So if we skip over to Mandra's Wellness Corner.
Yeah. Today, I'm going to talk about something very basic, but so important. And I might ask Shelly and Deb to kind of do a little practice with me. We're going to talk about breath and just kind of getting back to basics with how you breathe and paying attention to breathing. Because when we're in the rat race and we have 1,000 things in our head, you're not even aware that you're doing it. And it's a really good way to kind of hit the reset button and to take yourself down, a couple notches. So what you want to do to breathe is called breathing consciously, which means being aware of your breath. And you're going to close your eyes. You're going to only breathe through your nose. And as you breathe in, you're going to feel your lungs expand as you inhale. And then you're going to exhale, and you're just going to pay attention to that breath coming in and exhaling out. And there might be a few things that pop into your mind. Don't get mad at yourself for those. Just kind of acknowledge, oh, yeah, look, there's a thought. I'm going to let that just pass right through. I'm going to take another breath. Oh, there's another thing I have to do later. Okay, look at that. Just float on by. And when I do it, I can literally feel my neck and my back just sort of relax.
Okay, now how long do you have to do it before you feel that? I just did 2 breaths and my neck still hurts.
Okay, so you got to go a little longer.
In the interest of full disclosure, she has chronic neck pain, so there's some sort of medical condition going on there.
2 hours a day. Can you carve that in?
Seriously, rough.
No, I don't know. I think it takes me less time now because I've practiced it. So in the beginning, I don't know, set the timer for 4 or 5 minutes. See if you can do that.
I didn't know if it had to be 20 minutes.
No.
I can do 4 or 5 minutes.
Nobody has time for that. And the more you do it, if you do it, let's say you do it 5 minutes a couple times a day, you're going to get better at it. You can do this at any
I was just going to ask you how many times a day, and so you shouldn't do it while you're driving.
Boy, I was going to ask how many times a week.
Right.
I thought,
I do it when I'm driving, but I keep my eyes open. But it still is just, you're not paying attention to your breath unless you consciously pay attention to your breath.
Correct.
There's a pedestrian. We're just going to let him float on by.
There's a stop sign.
Whoops! Notice Shelly and I hit him.
Excuse me, officer. I was meditating, and that's why I didn't see the stop sign.
I was hanging out
Correct.
at Mandra's Wellness Corner doing a little meditating.
Yes.
But in our next podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit more about a more active meditation that might be easier for some folks to start with.
So maybe we could do this to start our writing too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thought.
Right? There you go.
Nice little
Before
centering
you
exercise.
light your candle and then do our breathing.
Yeah, but just don't get caught up on the whole clear your mind thing, because especially in the beginning, that's really hard to do.
Impossible.
Yeah, they say clear your mind, don't think about stuff. Well, that's not going to happen.
The first thing you do when someone says don't think about stuff is think about stuff.
And then I think, right now I'm thinking about stuff. Oh, crap. Now I'm thinking about stuff.
Right.
I'm out.
Yeah. Or not. Now I'm more upset than when I started.
Why does my neck hurt?
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, should we sashay over to Deb's Life Pondering Square?
All right. So I brought a picture, and this actually, I thought today what I would do is tell you how Life Ponderings came about. So that I went out down into my garage last night, and she's a little bit raggedy, but that's her. That's my very first Life Pondering. So about 6 years ago, I was afraid I might go crazy with so many feelings bottled up inside. After teaching one day, I went to the craft store. I didn't have any clear intention, but I did give myself permission to buy anything I wanted. I had this intense yearning and ache rolling through my body that I just couldn't explain. So when I got home, I took those 2 red balls and I made a little snowman. I gave her those little styrofoam hands, and you probably can't see on the picture, but she has a bouquet of balloons, and on the bouquet of balloons that are in her hand, it says wife, mother, career, and then at her feet, she has a deflating balloon, and on that one I wrote self.
Oh.
I gave her, I just love her every time I look at her. I gave her a little Olivia Newton-John kind of sweatband that says happily ever after, and a ribbon around the base of her that says I'm off to join the circus. So what do you guys think I did when I put her all together? You guys know
cried.
me, of course.
Cried.
You cried. Yes. I literally laid my head on the table and bawled my eyes out, but I felt better. I got the feelings out so it wasn't torturing me inside anymore, and then I made 6 more. 6 different ones. Sophie calls
Now there's
them,
a set.
Yes. Oh, there's more than a set. Sophie calls them my village people, but every time I look at them, I smile because I don't feel alone. And so that's what Life Ponderings do for me.
I love that art therapy,
Deb.
Deb.
I just love that girl. So now we can rock it over into Inspiration Alley.
Oh, well, today we're going to give a little shout out to Rebecca, who's a tattoo artist. And she used to be 5 minutes from my work, so I could actually go over on lunch and get a little fix, little ink done. And but she moved to Portland, Maine, and opened her own studio called Brass and Briar Studios. It's an art studio / tattoo studio, and she's on Spring Street in Portland, and she's doing so well. But what I love about her is just as we're putting words on paper for our book, she puts words and colors on my arms, and she just I tell her what I want, and then she takes her pen and draws it all over me.
So, Shelly, what does your arm say?
So, of course, my word is inspire.
Right.
And we did discuss that we spell it correctly in Shelly's World.
Yes.
Right. So, Shelly's World, INSPYR. Enjoy the journey. My husband and I, forever, for always, no matter what. And she just took a pen and just started drawing. So, it's like another form of art.
Right.
And I have a love-hate relationship with her because I want her to give me a rough draft on paper. And she wants to listen to me, take out her pen, and start drawing. And once she starts drawing, the second she starts drawing, I'm like, oh, I love her again.
Here's my arm.
And you surrender your body.
Now, hang on a
again.
second. I've got a question for people listening here that I think they're wondering. When you say pen, is this a ink pen or is this a tattoo pen where it's permanent?
Well, she starts with her ink pen and
Okay.
then takes out her tattoo gun and traces what she's written and drawn on my arm.
And you would just go over on lunch and say, yeah,
I have an hour. Give me some color.
that is amazing.
Give me some ink.
And it's fairly new. Like when
Well,
I first met you, you didn't have any of this.
But I did not have a half sleeve.
Right.
Well, because I said to you, if I had less responsibilities,
Yes.
I would get a tattoo sleeve. Like if I maybe didn't have a mortgage or owned a business or, had a little extra stress in my life. So then I just ended up, selling the business and working there and, booked some time and got a tattoo sleeve.
Look, there's another example.
Isn't that what people
Shelly.
do? Right.
If I could, this
Getting
is
it
my
done,
dream. I
Mr.
would like to
Jonathan.
have this.
Getting it
Right.
done.
And now she
And now
has
she has a sleeve.
Yeah.
I would like
beautiful.
to. I would like to invite you onto the island with me.
Oh, I get an invitation
Well,
now?
you're willing to share your cabin, and I get a little more of a window with the tattoos.
Okay.
But you've got to promise to at least gather half the food of the day early on, so
That
I don't
Mandra will be
panic.
cooking.
We'll eat so well.
What's this
All right,
free, Deb?
deal.
You haven't been invited yet.
You're still voted off the island, Deb.
Oh, yes.
I love it. All right, ladies. Well, thank you all for listening to us and for being with us today. We hope you'll check us out at, where can we find you, Shell? You can find me at Shelly Devlin on Facebook and Instagram. And I have another Instagram that at Shelly Devlin Inspire.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to contact me and like the pages. Okay, Deb?
DeborahMonk.com.
And I will talk about it more next time, but at Mandra Be Well, it's my Instagram. And may you all be inspired, feel empowered, and be well.
Cheers to the writers group.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.